Good afternoon, YouTube. This is TJ with you, and I'm really excited to share with you guys this experience I just had at this home. And so, before I get started and we go into details and the experience itself and blah blah blah, we're going to go over how I actually found this place in the first place. So, what happened was I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, Mormon Church, LDS Church, however you want to say it. And I was there a few years ago, and one day me and my companion, because they always have the two missionaries together, so me and the companion I was with, we were driving around, we're trying to find a certain person, and then all of a sudden the universe, God, Holy Spirit, whatever, told us, you need to go to that house, right there. And so we're like, all right, whatever. And so we followed our intuition, we went to this house, and then we met my friends, this older couple that told us about this house they lived in and all the activity that was going on with it, within a spiritual sense, and everything that was happening and all the experiences and stories. And ever since then I've wanted to go and stay the night and explore a little bit, and I finally got to do that the other day. And so in all my experiences with this house, I wouldn't say I'm a psychic level intuitive, I'm not a wizard, I don't have powers or anything, but I can definitely sense with my intuition, with my soul, whatever you want to call it, I can definitely sense the heaviness that is in this place and the activity and the busyness of it. And so some of you guys may know what I'm talking about, but at the very least I'm here to share with you the experience of going through this place, and I'm excited to go into some of the details with you. Alright, so I decided to go all out with this little adventure I had, and I brought my energy healing intuitive psychic friend, and I'm going to include a snippet of her speaking about the energy that she feels in the house. Then I'm also, after that, going to include a snippet of the older couple talking about the history of the house and going over what it was and what the purpose of the house was for the past 100 or so years, which is very, very interesting. If you love history, this will be for you.
Yeah, so when we went downstairs, I got kind of a daunting, heavy energy, and then in that first little room, I mentioned kind of a murder energy, and then he mentioned about prohibition, and I was like, okay, that makes sense, because it's got a kind of that rough and tumble. And then when I walked in your dining room, the energy I felt was lover's quarrel, like a lover's spat. And then when you mentioned brothel stuff, I was like, okay, that could also play into it. But from the looks of your face, it sounds like you've got more to the story. And so those were kind of the main things. And then upstairs, in the one room, there's definitely a mischievous child energy. Now, and you feel quite strong. Just mischievous is the word. So those are kind of the basic ones that were probably just the simple walkthrough that I was feeling.
So this house was built in 1906. Well, it was started in 1905, completed in 1906 by Mr. and Mrs. Colthorpe. He was one of the first established businessmen in town. He ran a livery service where he would supply merchandise and have deliveries made. But they lived in this house until 1917, when he relocated to another home on the other side of town that he built. Mrs. Colthorpe passed away in this home, and of their 9 children, Frank, the youngest, stayed in the home, and eventually he moved away, but he always told people that he was going to go home someday. And when he was real elderly, he passed away in a nursing home in Washington State, but he said that he was going home. And several intuitives have picked up on Frank in the house, and they believe that that's what he meant, was, I'm going home. And he always considered this home.
Yeah.
But Mr. Colthorpe, he entered into a business with a Mr. Garrett. Mr. Garrett was a businessman, and he had money, and he proceeded to sell people land on the promise that there was water but there was no water. So he swindled a lot of people. He swindled Native Americans off their land. He made loans that he never paid back.
Yeah.
And it was, it kind of tarnished Mr. Colthorpe's reputation a little bit, having been close friends with it. In fact, I have a picture when it gets out of Mr. Colthorpe and Mr. Garrett in their buggy right on the street here.
Yeah.
So I think maybe some of the trust the town had to Mr. Colthorpe kind of went away when they ran Mr. Garrett out of town. They were going to hang him if they caught him. And Garrett ended up back east, where he lived the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And then after the Colthorpes sold the house, they sold it in 1917, and it was sold. Not sure who the person was. Just
The doctor.
no, not 1917. Oh, it was to a man who then leased it to the Department of the Army as a field hospital during World War One. And then in the early 20s, it was purchased by a woman who supposedly ran a bootlegging operation through the house and prostitution.
Yeah.
Then it was sold after she sold it to a doctor, and it was turned into a birthing center for unwed mothers. And there was approximately 100 babies born in the house. Whatever happened to a lot of the babies, nobody really knows. But there is one, or he was alive 2 years ago in the nursing home here that was born in this house.
Oh wow.
And so that we did find one person that's still alive.
Yeah.
And then after it was a birthing center, then that was who purchased it then? I don't know who purchased it then. But whoever purchased it after the doctor sold it, it was a regular home, and then it sat empty for a decade
Yeah.
and fell into total it needed big time cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
And that's when the other Garretts purchased the home in 1960, and he cleaned it up, fixed it up, got everything working again, and they lived in the home until 1983.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when they sold to the Prowse, who we purchased it from. But the Prowse moved out of it about 4 years before we moved into it, and it was empty for 2 or 3 years when we bought it. 2 years, yeah, when we bought it. But there's a lot of people have stories about this house. I know that I've met several people in town that have lived here their whole lives and never set foot in this house. People have said they've seen things. So I don't know. We've had our experiences. Yeah.
If you want, you can share some experiences again for the phone after the recording.
Well, when we first moved in, we would hear the sound of something coming up the basement stairs. And the people we bought it from, ironically, the lady we bought, she told me, just keep the basement door locked. She says, I never went down there. And I said, well, I probably won't go down there
Just
either.
keep it locked. That's crazy.
And, but that's all she said about it,
Yeah.
And then she told us about hearing, sometimes you might hear a baby cry.
Yeah.
And we weren't in the house a week, we heard that. We heard the sound of a baby crying. And it was really strange. We were trying to figure out where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And then when we started having people come over, they would say they heard a baby cry.
Yeah.
But the footsteps on the stairs, we heard those several times. And then we would hear the sound of a dog whining, and our dogs would hear the dog whining.
Yeah.
Then the knocking on the walls, and they come out of the blue. You don't expect.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting here one night, and right behind us we heard bang, bang, bang on the wall, and I was like, "What was that?" You know, it just kind of startles you for a minute, and then the doors. You close the doors, and you come back later, and they'll be open.
Yeah.
You turn off lights, you come back, the lights back on. Things get moved.
Yeah. Or mischievous boy.
Mischievous, yeah. And we're pretty sure there's a little boy in that room upstairs because he'll move the teddy bears around.
Yeah.
And you'll hear like a little giggle sometimes, or you'll hear this little boy humming a tune, and that's strange because there's no record of how many of the Colthorpe's children survived.
Yeah.
They just mentioned they had 9, and that's all they really talk about is. But there was quite a what was it? Smallpox came through here, or measles. Something came through, and quite a few children died.
Yeah.
So it's very possible it's one of her children.
Yeah.
And that could be why she sticks around.
Yeah. That's true.
You know. And this is really cool. Once in a while, you'll see something about this tall, really short, dark, and it'll move really fast out of the corner of your eye. And we decided that we're calling it a puka
Yeah.
because it never changes. It's just always, and even the dogs and the cat will chase it. The cat used to run all over the upstairs chasing something.
Yeah.
And one night I heard her, and I went up there quietly, and I saw something dark go across the hall into the bedroom, and she took off after it. So whatever this thing is, it's little and it's dark, but it moves around really quick.
So now that we've heard the energy reading of the house by my friend, and we've heard the history of the house by my other friends who own the house, now a lot of things are coming together. Next, I want to go into some stories about the house. First, we're going to start with the story that was not shared in the recording that I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys. There was a paranormal team that came and investigated the house for a couple of days. The day they left, the tree seemed to have gone what I think is wetwood, which is a common form of bacteria that comes out of the tree. But the strangest part to me is the fact that it happened the day after this team left. So whether it's a manifestation of some type of being coming from another dimension, who knows? It's up to you to decide. But to me, I think the strangest thing is the timing of that and how that happened. So that's one story for you guys.
It sounds like a little child singing, like humming, or laughing. And it's always up there, yeah. And then when our grandson, when he came, and he was what? How old was he? 7? Yeah, about 7 years old. And in the morning, he said, "Who's the lady standing here?" When I said, "What lady?" "The lady that told me to be quiet and go to sleep." And I said, "What was she like?" And he described her, and he described Mrs. Colthorpe. And I said, "What did she do?" He said, "Well, I was talking," because he always jibber jabber to himself, and he was doing that. She came in the room and said, "Shh, go to sleep." And so he went to sleep, and she walked out.
Tell them about the light.
Oh yeah, that was kind of, when we first moved in, we'd only been in the house for a couple of months. Yeah, and we were in the dining room, and we get in the habit of, we'll read the Bible, and we were talking about a passage in the Bible, and all of a sudden we heard a crash in the kitchen, and we went in the kitchen, and there was a fluorescent light where the track lights are now, and it had fallen and just shattered all over, and it was weird because we were talking about demons and I don't remember what passage it was, but it happened just as we were talking about it. And then he went in and he said, you need to leave. You're not welcome here. Well, that's when after that we started seeing on the porch this shadow going back and forth. And a lot of people have seen it. They've asked, what is with, and one time, who was here? It was Elaine.
Yeah.
She said, I think there's somebody on your porch.
Cindy, no.
And I looked, and I said, I think so, the door's locked to us. She said, I saw somebody go by. And people have seen this thing, but they just catch the shadow. Of, it looks like a dark form going, and we don't know what that is. But it can't come in. It won't come in.
All right, so now we've heard the energy reading of the house, we've heard the history of the house, we've heard the stories about the house. Now we're going to go into my experiences with just going through the house with my EMF reader. And I know with those of you who don't know what an EMF reader is, all it does is it measures electromagnetic frequencies. And I think it's very interesting to me how much it fluctuates in this house. You can go through other houses and see the different fluctuations, and it always depends because of course it's picking up electronic devices and wires and different things and whatever's coming out of the earth. And so definitely it's hard to tell what it's actually picking up. But when I go to this house, you'll see some weird phenomena like EMFs off a certain bed, or the EMF off the center of a hallway. And you also have to keep in mind that in this house, at least as much as the owners know and have told me, there's not that much wiring in this 100 or so year old house compared to your usual house now. And I believe that because it is an older house and it doesn't seem like they've really replaced much to have to put wires in there anyway. There's also no need to. And so to me personally, the EMF readings in this house seem pretty strange compared to other places I've been or in my own apartment here. So all I'm asking is keep an open mind, see what you think, and enjoy the experience.
Did you guys get the house for a pretty decent price?
Actually, one thing I told before is in, I think, this room is where their grandchildren have said that they've seen a little boy. Is it this one? I think this is the room you're staying in. Oh, that's the secret.
Yeah, it's very little.
So here we got our EMF meter by this fishing stuff. It goes up, and supposedly there's no wires in this area, only down there. There we go. And then if you come over here, it also goes up. Alright, we got a great uncle's belonging here. We already unplugged the lamp, so that's pretty interesting. Come back over here to the Bible. So that's interesting. It's hard to say with wiring, but well, let's put on the wow. That is definitely interesting. Like even having it out here in the middle of the room, it's still at 1 and away from my phone too, which is it's pretty interesting. Instead, here we are in the basement. Hard to say. There's our old well. Alright, here in this room right in the middle we got something going on. There's nothing foreseeable that's electronic other than my phone. It's right in the middle of the room. Nothing in there. Alright, I just realized that the bed seems to have a lot going on, kind of. Oh. All I'm doing is touching it. Alright, so when I touch it, it goes up pretty high. And when she touches it, I've never seen it that high in the middle of a room. And it just shut off even though it's at full battery, which is also strange. So here we go, it's been jumping from the 60s and the 80s, and again, we're in the middle of a room, or hallway. Here I am in Frank Colthorpe's old room. I'm going to sleep for a little bit, wake up at 2:30 and see what I can find. Good night. So yeah, it's about 2:45 in the morning. I'm gonna go explore a little bit. I'm pretty dang tired, but see if we can get anything here. Well, it's a haunted house, so of course I'll have to look in the mirror. Alright, Frank, if you want to talk to us, talk to me anyway, because I'm rolling here, or down here, go ahead and come say hi in the mirror. Frank. guys. So this is where the old cemented well would be. And down here is also where the tunnel during the Prohibition is, or was anyway, for moving alcohol. Is there anybody down here with us? Want to show yourself with the camera? Alright. Gosh. Dang cat. Alright guys, well, it's about 3:10 and went to the basement, looked downstairs. I'm not going to look upstairs because I don't want to wake up the dogs or the people that are having us over here, so I'm just going to call it good. As far as sensitivity right now, here at 3 in the morning, it feels about the same. I don't know if this feels worse, so we're going to do a little EMF reading here in this room. Ask Frank some questions, see if he wants to pop up. Alright, Frank, if you want to show yourself, please come closer and let this, let the, whatchamacallit, it's too tired, the EMF reader to read you, alright? So just come near me, don't be too shy. Come on, little guy. Come on, come close to the EMF reader. I'm not here to bite you. Come on, Frank. Earlier, it was going off a lot, at least during the day, so let's check it again. Make sure the tackle box is the owner's, it's not a past owner, it's living owner's tackle box, and for whatever reason it gives off the signal, so. But I don't know. Peace out. I'm going back to sleep. I haven't seen anything crazy right now, so, or heard anything other than the dang cat just walking around scaring the Jesus out of me, so. Yeah, that's about it. We'll see you guys. Good night. Alright, everyone. Thanks for sharing this experience with me. I hope you had a good time. At the very least, you learned history about Mountain Home, Idaho. So if you don't believe in ghosts, it was hopefully a good little history lesson for you guys. Please like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to support me. Please let me know if there's anything that you saw or you heard in the audio that I did not catch in this video. That'd be awesome. Thank you. I love you guys. Have a great day.